Hi guys, this is Nathan with Davis with Chatter Up, and you guys are probably wondering what in the world does that mean? And I'm going to let my my partner here, tell you about his name, where he's from, and also I'm from Florida too, where he's from, and how the whole Chatter Up thing and how we met came to happen.
Hi, my name is Victor Ivan Monroy Gutierrez. I am from Puerto Rico. And how does a guy from Florida meet a guy from Puerto Rico? Well, the truth is we met because of baseball in college brought us together in 2014 in Clearwater Christian College. My CCC people represent. So, and then we just fell in love with the game of baseball. We love how passionate we both are. So we just decided to start this Chatter Up podcast / video blog / commentator table. And
whatever you want to call it.
Whatever you want to call it. We just love the game of baseball. We just love to talk about it. So we just hope that you guys enjoy this. That we that if you have any hot takes that you might want to throw them in the comments. We don't mind. We really don't mind. If you have any critiques, sure, be respectful. But we would really like for you guys to enjoy this and to, walk through this journey with us.
Yep. And we also have an email. It's also chatterup22@yahoo.com if you guys want to email us questions there too on comments and all that. Yeah. So as we said, Chatter Up, Victor kind of came up with the name for it. I came up with the whole idea of us doing this kind of thing. And Victor came up with the name and I was like, perfect. Instead of Batter Up, it's Chatter Up. So instead of stepping up to the plate, you're stepping up to the mic.
Exactly.
To talk about stepping up into the plate. So that's how we're going to do this, how we're going to roll with this. So we're going to start talking baseball and get right into it, because right now the hottest issue in Major League Baseball right now is the CBA and the lockout. Now, a lot of things have been done priorhand. Players cannot talk with the owners. Me and Victor have got some ideas of what could happen and what can come out of it. And we're looking forward to share that with you guys. The things that need to be addressed in the CBA, like Victor, we were talking before we pressed the record button to do this. So let's tell these people what we're talking about.
We were talking about things that need to be addressed, which is the whole DH situation, if it's going to be good for both leagues, or is it just stay American League DH and National League pitchers hit, or if, both leagues will have universal DH. But I think that the most important thing that should be addressed first is this whole situation between owners and players. I understand that they're not happy. I understand that players want one thing, owners want the other thing. And I think it's a very bad moment for baseball, if I'm being honest. I think that this whole situation could have been avoided, but, egos grow. I mean, some players want something, some owners want another thing. And then this just difference of opinions on what's good for baseball is really making everything worse. So I just really hope that they can talk through their differences. I just hope that the sooner they do it, the better, because the longer it takes,
there goes games.
And it's just baseball fans are going to start. Yeah. Baseball fans will just start finding other sports to watch, and then it could be the. So I think that's the biggest issue that should be addressed first. The whole relationship between Players Tribune and the owners. So what else do you think?
Here's the thing. I want to give a hot take. When the strike in '94 happened, my uncle was the biggest baseball fan on the planet. Doesn't even care to watch it because of that. And so I mean, we know the players want more money and all that. But the other thing is that it has been the hot issue with this has been the whole, not just the players in the major leagues, but the salaries in the minor leagues too.
Yeah.
And that's been one of the biggest hot takes the whole year since the whole COVID stuff started. And that was like I think this year, all the teams are going to be paying for the housing of the players in the minor leagues. And I'm just wondering if the players are looking to fight not just for themselves, but for the guys that are below them in the minors that are working their butts off to get to the major leagues, to actually deserve that pay that
history has shown history has shown that players will probably just think of themselves, which I think it's sad. I do think that the situation in the minor leagues is actually more important than the situation in the major leagues.
Yes,
I mean,
it is.
I believe a story broke loose that the players were actually sleeping in their cars because they couldn't afford
They
housing.
did.
Everybody's like, oh yeah, baseball players make this a lot of money. Well, those aren't only like the top drafted players. There are players who are undrafted, players who are drafted in late rounds that had to start Class A rookie
Yep.
ball, and they literally don't make enough money. Like people are like,
Yeah.
oh well, yeah, but they probably make more. Actually, there are people who, oh yeah, he signed for like $20,000. Yeah, that's $20,000, but it's not the salary. That's just a
Yeah.
signing bonus. Their salary is really not that much. I know players that, well, I don't know players. I know about players that probably get like $700 a month
Yeah.
for just playing baseball.
It's crazy. Going forward about the major leagues aspect of it, I'm wondering if like the MLB is trying to get like what they're going to do with the broadcasting money. That's going to be the important thing, because now you also have the MLB network, which is at the bargaining table because, well, it's one owned by MLB, but also it's its own network. So I'm wondering if they're going to be, how they're going to funnel the money between them, Fox, TBS, ESPN, how they're going to do that. And if they are going to get anybody else new, like NBC, CBS into the mix too. But who knows? I mean, that's one thing that needs to be addressed.
Yeah.
Is the whole money issue, what the players like, what the owners like, and all that. But as you said, the DH issue is one that is the most finicky, because we don't know if it's going to wipe out the pitcher ever hitting again. But I think the DH, and you can agree on, you actually brought up this point when we first had our first discussion, was that if there are certain pitchers in the game, and you and I named off 6 guys that can hit, pitchers that can just straight up rake in the Major League Baseball. And so it's like, if those guys want to hit, let them hit. Yeah. But the guy who universally changed the whole topic of pitchers hitting is Shohei Ohtani. The MVP.
Yeah. Showtime. I think the DH, people think that the DH is a mandatory thing, but what people really don't know is that it's actually an optional choice. Yeah, it's an optional choice that the manager has. That's why Shohei Ohtani this year, he could pitch and hit in the American League, even though it's universally known for being the DH league. But I think that there are pitchers like Shohei Ohtani, of course. Zach Greinke is a great hitter. Jacob DeGrom hit. I think he has the highest average of the Mets in the whole year. Of course, the limited at bats, but still he had, I believe, one of the best ERA in the game. Oh yeah. So Jacob DeGrom, Michael Lorenzen can rake. Madison Bumgarner. Matt Bum is a stud, and I think that those guys aren't a liability. And I think that's the most important thing when you're thinking about the DH, if yes or no, a DH is the pitcher a liability in that situation? Meaning, if you're facing Max Scherzer, who's a Met now, he's in the National League, and you know that you need more firepower to score more runs against them, or need better chances of scoring runs against Max Scherzer, then you want to have that flexibility of having a DH who can probably produce more than a pitcher can.
Yes.
But if you have moments where you're facing a rookie pitcher or somebody who's not having a good year, then you can still have that flexibility of, you know what, I can still have the pitcher. But I think that the DH also helps with the bullpen situation of the National League. Like the managers, yes, I love the strategy behind it. I love the mastermind, seeing managers like Kevin Cash is an American League, but I think he kind of coaches more of like a National League style. Games. Yeah, but managers like Don Mattingly, or managers like
old school guys.
The guy Cardinals, I forgot his name, Mike Schmidt, right? Mike Schilt. Mike Schilt.
Yeah, Mike Schilt. He's no longer their manager.
Yeah, who was their manager? But I think they did great jobs of handling the bullpen situation. And sometimes and sometimes they felt compromised to leave pitchers in because of the DH situation. And
Exactly.
I think that universal DH, I know a lot of people are gonna say, no, man, the DH is only for one league, and that's fine because it will be the only thing that differentiates the American League and National League. I understand that, but the game has revolutionized so much that I think that the DH is actually healthy for baseball now. Is
Yeah,
as a universal
very healthy.
aspect.
And you take a look at it, the National League, I think, in this year's World Series proved it. They thrive with the DH in the lineup easily at the American League ballpark. I mean, the Braves would have not won the World Series if Jorge Soler had not hit that moonshot that's never landed. And I mean, dude, okay, guys, we're going to interject here. My favorite team is the team that won the World Series, and Victor's is.
I'm a Yankee for life. I'm disappointed. That's what it means. Being a Yankee for life means being disappointed.
Yep. And so, as a Braves fan, I believe that was the home run that set the tone for the game in Game 6 of this year's past World Series, and gave Max Fried the ultimate, okay, time to go out and take care of business mode and get that done. And that's why he pitched 4 fabulous innings after that was set, or was it 3? No, it was 3, because it was third inning when Soler hit the ball that never landed. But I mean, the thing with the DH, going back to it, I mean, guys, I'm gonna interject here as well. I also umpire baseball at the high school level, so I see these rules all the time. The DH rule in high school has been kind of like, it can be it's used all the time, and I've also noticed that too, when the coaches get sick of it, they're getting rid of the DH. So I agree with Victor. It should be a thing that can be play with however which way the managers want to use that. So talking about what's another thing that we can discuss besides the DH. I mean, Shohei Ohtani last year, I mean, the dude just did wonders in this game, things that had not been done since Babe Ruth pitched and hit at the same time, so over 100 in like 3-4 years ago.
And not even Babe Ruth did what Shohei Ohtani did. So
no, I mean, Ty Cobb even, I think, pitched too, if I'm not mistaken. It is what it is.
It's not. They didn't do what Shohei Ohtani did. He made history. He made history. So so I think that this whole situation will have to be addressed, just as what a lot of people did not like, and personally I love is 7-inning double headers. I know a lot of players hated it. I know a lot of players hated it. A lot of fans hated it. But being a realistic, I would like to think myself as a realistic baseball fan. I played baseball for 18 years. I love the game of baseball. I am passionate about the game of baseball. But baseball can be a drag. I understand. And I think that 7-inning double headers, I think not only works for the fans, but I think it also works for the players, because they wouldn't be exposed to as many how do I say this? They wouldn't be exposed to as many possible injury situations because they're playing 4 fewer innings in a game versus when they play double 9-inning games. That's 18 total innings, and when you play 7 innings, it's 14 total innings. So, and then you have to bring to account the possibility of there being extra innings, and I think that it's just better health wise for the players, because it's not the same thing as playing Friday, Saturday, and Sunday 1 9-inning game than playing Saturday and Sunday one day playing 18 innings and then having to play 9 innings probably on the day, like a day game, not a night game on a Sunday. And I think it would just work better in that scenario.
Yeah. And here's the other thing too. If you go back and look, because they instituted this during the COVID rules, and they kept it for like this season too until the CBA went out. And the other thing I've noticed too is the starting pitchers pretty much pitched the entire 7 innings.
Yeah.
And you're saving bullpen guys. That's huge in the season. That's huge.
Yeah.
And
162 games.
It's huge. Talking about marathon games, I don't know if we got to inject our stories here too. I remember a game me and Victor were a part of that was like what 4 hours long, and this is college baseball. Like not even like this is like what lowest of the lowest of collegiate baseball you can get, and it
well,
was
we
a
were
football style game.
it was NCCAA. It was
Yeah, it
National
was
National Christian College Athletic Association games.
I
And I believe that game ended at what was it, 21-19.
25-19. I think it was 25-19.
It was insane. It was a football score.
It was a team from Minnesota we were playing too. That was the even crazier part.
That was
and that was probably like their first game of the season, and ours like what 15th because we were in Florida.
And that was the Friday night game. Then we had to play Saturday.
Yeah, that was the Friday night game. Oh, dude, and the thing that still boggles my mind. Yeah, the still thing that boggles me with that game is the fact that Alex Milton, our teammate, hit a home run, but the double he hit in the game was further than the home run he hit. So that was one memory I will always take, and I always tell Milton when I see him. Just remember.
Shout out to Alex Milton.
Homer.
Shout out to Alex Milton.
Shout out to Alex Milton.
Man.
All right. So besides the 7 innings, now you had a pretty good idea. I remember when we were sharing about what they should do if the games go extra innings in those 7-inning double headers.
Yeah. So as if you follow baseball this in 2020, in 2021, actually, they implemented the same rule that they do in the World Baseball Classic, which is that after the 10th inning, in the 10th inning on, there's a runner on second, right? The guy who got last out actually starts the next inning as a runner in second base, and a lot of people hated that, and I actually like it because it really worked. It really did its job. Like the whole point of the runner on second was to shorten the length of games. That especially extra inning games, there were a lot of games that would go 17 innings, 18 innings, 19 innings. And like I said, that is a very, very tough situation for players who are playing 162 games for, I believe it's 5, 6, 7. I think it's 6 months.
Yeah.
6 months. So
8 if you're counting them getting there middle of February to start training for the season.
Exactly. But the season lasts for 6 months. And then they have spring training, which isn't that big of it really isn't that big of an issue health-wise because they're actually starting to prepare and they take it slow at the beginning. But then as the year picks up, you still have some very stressful games. So I really think that the runner on second rule really did help the game of baseball in limiting the amount of innings that the game extended. So I think it was a brilliant idea, and I really enjoyed it because it made it, as a fan, it made it easier to watch because there was more activity because there's already a runner on second. So any ball that gets past the infield is a possible run. And and the more runs, the more fun the game is. And I think that I would really love if that stayed, if that rule stayed. And a lot of fans don't like it, but I like it. So how would you handle the 7-inning double headers? Well, in that situation, if there's an extra inning, I would just automatically extend the other 2 innings. You know, there's a 7 innings, right? That's in a scheduled double header now. So if the game's tied after the 7th inning, then they would have to play the 8th and 9th inning. The 8th and 9th inning, normal rules, no runner on second, just regular rules. And then if it extends past the 9th inning, meaning 10th inning on, then you bring the runner on second rule. And I think that would really just help this whole idea of the runner on second be a more clear and an easier way to explain the rule to fans, and it's easier to follow along.
Yes, and you also said like the highest, the most, the longest game this year was what, 15 innings or so,
something like that.
Was it? Yeah. And none more of these like 18, 19, 20, 21 long marathons. Speaking of which, I remember I hear this story a lot with the former Atlanta Braves, Dale Murphy. His wife used to always call him after the game, or he used to call yada 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 after a game, saying, "Hey, I'm home." Or actually, no, this is what it was. He would come home and tap his wife on the shoulder when he'd get home, and she's already in bed. And one night, she never got that. She woke up at the normal time that he would get home, and she's like, "He's not home. He's not here tapping me on the shoulder." She called the stadium. They were still playing at like 2 or 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
And this was a 9 inning game. It was like a 23. I think it was the 23 inning game back in the 80s with the Braves. I want to say it was the Braves and the Pirates, but I'm not sure on that. But that just eliminates the whole thing. And in high school baseball and on down, that's what they're doing. In extra innings, if there's no time limit like they have in like amateur baseball, they play what they call the extra innings rule, where the runner starts on set, the last batted out on second, and then they go from there. And it's called like the international rules, the Texas tiebreaker. But I just think overall, I agree with you. It has to end. It has to end the length of these games going 6 hours, 7 hours, and into the next day.
Yeah, because that's really what's causing baseball to lose so many fans. Yeah. Now, a lot of people, baseball is boring. And I understand where they're coming from, because I played baseball. Playing the game can become boring at sometimes. But when you're playing, you don't really feel it. But when you're expectating, then it really becomes a hard game to watch, especially if there's no action. So if you put a runner on second after a very long 9-inning game and the game is still tied, if you put a runner on second, you're automatically creating action on the base paths, which I believe is it's the only way that baseball can be fun, or at least easier to watch. So I think it just really helps. I think it really helps. Everybody's going to say, "Oh yeah, it's not baseball anymore." But baseball, when I grew up, baseball was bunting, stealing bases, hitting runs.
Yep.
That's not baseball anymore. Baseball right now, it's hit dingers, OPS plus and all that stuff. Throw 100 miles per hour, strikeout. That's really 3-2 outcomes. Walks, strikeouts, home runs. That's really it. So I think that this is one way where I saw a lot of teams bunting to move the runner over. I saw pitchers moving the guy, intentionally balking, so that way they move the runner over to third. So it's just it's just so different now, and I think it's fun. I really think it's fun, because you can actually see that there's a ending of the game nearby, and I think it's just one way.
Okay, and then we have another interesting point of bringing it up, of having mercy rules of just any game, 9 innings, 7 innings, whatever. And I can take this from instance as being an umpire. I hate when games are just like drags, when the one team is absolutely destroying the other team. And it's like, we have run rules in place in amateur baseball to prevent like games going the full length. Okay. So like in high school baseball, it's after 5 innings, it's 10. If their team's up 10 runs or more, the game is over. And so you and I were talking, I threw out there 12 runs because it's not like every other baseball, but you said 10 after 7. If it's a 9 inning, and I guess if it's a 7 inning game, 10 after 5, like in high school.
Actually, I was thinking only for 9 inning games, because 7 inning games, they're already sort of kind of short. I wouldn't like to shorten it because of the fan aspect.
Okay.
Like fans are paying. They want to pay for at least 7 innings now. If there's a mercy rule, right? Because if there's a mercy rule, I've been in games where it's been a literal blowout, 15-2, 15-3, and it just becomes a boring game to watch. So if you have a mercy rule, I'd say 10 innings. 10 runs in the 7th inning or after the 7th inning, then it's the chances of a team winning after that, it's almost 0%. And everybody's like, "Oh, win probability." Well, the win probability is probably like 0.001% of you winning that game after the 7th inning. So I think that if you really don't have that big of a chance, and it's almost, it could be considered a miracle win if that happens, then I think it just cut the game short after the 7th inning, because fans are going to start leaving. Kids have school next day. Well, if it's at the beginning of the season or towards the end of the season, but if it's summertime, but parents who take kids to the game have to work the next day. And also, you also save bullpen arms. You also save injuries. I think it would just be so much helpful if you actually have a mercy rule, which it won't happen that often. People say, "Oh, yeah, but then you're shortening baseball." No, it just happens when when the teams are getting blown out. Say the Dodgers are playing. I believe the Orioles had the worst record this past year.
Yes, they had the worst record in baseball.
Exactly. So say the Dodgers, who we all saw it was a juggernaut of a team. Say the Dodgers are playing the Orioles at Camden Yards, and it is just a homer fest. It's just a home run derby. The game is 18-1, and after 6 innings, no fan is gonna want to watch the end of that game. So after 7, just call it, save arms, save careers at that point, because tired arms can cause Tommy John surgery if you overuse them and if you don't rest enough. So just if you cut out those type of games, then a lot of players, I know maybe at first there will be a lot of resistance, but looking at the big picture and a long-term situation, I think they would be very grateful for that, because then they wouldn't have to waste their arms, and then maybe position players don't have to pitch. I know, Nene, I know you like position players pitching.
I love it.
I know you like it. I think
you did do that when we were playing in college too.
I did do it. But I didn't enjoy it. Enjoyed it because it just meant that we were getting blown out. And I know we had this past year we saw Anthony Rizzo strike out Freddie Freeman. That was amazing. That was hilarious. Fun. It was so fun.
Dude, sitting there. I see that video every once in a while on TikTok. I have to watch the whole thing through just because it's hilarious. The fact that the whole time Freddie cannot keep it together. He is just laughing the entire at bat. And then when Rizzo strikes him out, Rizzo's laughing. The umpires are laughing. The catcher, everybody's laughing in the ballpark. And it's just comedy.
It is comedy. It is comedy. And I think
and then Brett Phillips, remember how he made such a big deal about it this past season when he got going in Phillips.
Brett Phillips, if you're watching, man, we love you. We need more players we need more players like you, Brett Phillips, man.
Yes, guys that are there that just love to be at the ballpark no matter. Yeah. It's a guy. Brett Phillips is a guy who loves his role. He does not care if he's not playing. He just loves the atmosphere and the fact that he's actually doing what every kid dreams to do.
Man, I remember him winding up when he got to pitch. It was hilarious. But that's the thing. It is fun. It is fun to watch position players hit until a line drive back up the middle hits him in the head.
Yes.
Then it becomes, why are position players pitching? They shouldn't be. Exactly. To bring the mercy rule in, they don't have to. That's what I'm saying. So it's just, I think it's something that should be worked on, at least considered in this CBA. I understand that the chances of there being a mercy rule by the start of the 2022 season is almost 0%. But I just would like for them to just entertain the idea of the possibility of doing that. I don't know if anybody has something. If anybody wants something to say, you can just write it in the comments, please. Just let us know, or write to chatterup@yahoo.com. Oh, sorry, chatterup22.
Chatterup 2022 at yahoo.com. So, but here's the thing though, Manfred's already trying to implement a lot of this in the minor leagues, the independent leagues, of the mound 61 feet 6 inches away from the plate, pitch clock. Now that's something that is going to probably be instituted, and it already is in the minor league. Is the 20-second pitch rule, and it speeds up the game quicker. It makes the batter think. And you and I were talking, and this is what I said. I think this is how it's instituted in minor league baseball: is batter fouls it off. Okay. When does the clock start? Well, I think by minor league baseball rules, that clock now I don't know if it starts immediately when the batter fouls it off. I don't remember because I did go to a couple minor league games this past year, but I'm pretty sure that clock doesn't start not just for the batter, but for the pitcher until the umpire points and says play. But I could be wrong. It could be it starts after the foul ball because the batter, here's the rule. I'll break it down for everybody out there. The rule is, because I umpire baseball, it's also the same rule. It's this rule of 20 seconds. Now in amateur baseball, there's no clock. It's 20 seconds. You've got to do it like a time mind thing as an umpire or hitter or pitcher. It is the batter, if he fouls it off, has 20 seconds to get either a sign from third base dugout. Pitcher has the same amount of time to get the sign from the catcher. 20 seconds to deliver a play. So if the batter's taking forever to get in the box after that 20 seconds, strike. Okay. Pitcher doesn't do it if there's nobody on, ball. If there's nobody on, ball and a ball. So it's going to be, I think the timing clock is going to happen, because I know in spring training, and you've probably been to a couple spring training games as well. And there's that, as soon as the inning's over, there's 2 minutes or 2.5 minutes or something like that on the clock in which they have to get onto the field of play and ready to play. Like there's no set amount of pitches that the pitcher has before each team's ready. That's how much time you got to get warmed up and everything.
I mean, I think it's even logical. If you look at the four major sports, baseball, basketball, football, and hockey, right? Football has the play clock. Basketball has the shot clock. And then hockey, it's just a timed a timed game,
it's a
right?
continuous clock unless there's a foul or something.
Exactly. The only one that isn't time limited is baseball.
Is baseball,
But and I'm not saying to put a time for a baseball game. No, I am a total no for that. I don't think you can time baseball. I think it's just no way of it just shouldn't
possible.
be allowed.
It's not possible in Major League Baseball.
But if there is a lot of time between action, it's just boring. It's just boring to watch. So how do you handle that? Well, you put the 20 seconds, right? The 20 seconds between pitches. And the way I said it, and I think the way that Nene said it first, I think it's a better way of implementing. The way I believe that it should have been implemented is as soon as the batter stands in the box, I think the 20 seconds should start, because I played baseball like I said 20 years now, 18 years. And
years.
once you foul the ball off, if it was a pitch right down the middle, you're mad because you missed it, right? So you gotta collect your thoughts again. You gotta collect your thoughts again, and then stand again in the batter's box, right? Exactly. No more Garcia Shapiro with the batting gloves. So I think that after a foul ball, it should start when the hitter stands back in the batter's box. As soon as it touches it, one of the cleats touch the batter's box, either foot. But I think the way that Nene said it, it's better, because that way Nene can, the umpire says play ball, and the hitter better be ready by then. Because as soon as that pitch clock starts, or as soon as that, I don't know, action clock starts, I don't know what they would call it.
I think it would be action clock or play clock. You can't call it play clock because it's already in football.
The best way. I think that's the best way.
Yeah, it's the best way. And Victor, you throws out there for a second.
Basketball is shot clock.
Yeah, basketball is shot clock.
Yeah, it's internet, man. It's the Wi-Fi. Yeah, basketball is shot clock, play clock, and so I don't know. Pitch clock is just the one that really resonates better with me. So I think it's You're there?
Yeah, I'm there. Right. We're still there. That's going to be in the clip. That's awesome.
I think that's the best way of handling this whole situation, of making baseball fun to watch.
Quicker.
And the one thing that I would like to see as a fan, it's more interaction on live broadcast, meaning more interactions with the fans on live broadcast. When you're in the game, when you go to a baseball game, I've been to a few baseball games actually. When you are in a baseball game, there are possibilities of you winning, I think it's a shirt, winning a hat, winning money. And I think somehow, now that the way the technology is set, I think that somehow there should be a way that they can just make watching baseball on the TV fun.
Mm-hmm.
The NFL implemented something last year for I believe it was the playoffs or the wild card games, where it was Nickelodeon broadcast one of the wild card games.
I remember that.
And they had the
I do remember.
slime, and they had this whole animations after a touchdown, or they even explained what the fouls were, what the penalties were, and the flags were. And I think that is genius because not everybody understands baseball the way we do.
Yeah.
And I think that if you have something like that, you make it fun for the kids as well to watch.
And here's the thing, and I'm an umpire. There's 10 rules in baseball, but that doesn't mean there's 10 pages in that rule book. There is info on info. It's 10.-1-3, whatever. There's so many rules in the game of baseball. There's so many outcomes. And here's the funny thing. And as an umpire, there's so many outcomes that you have to take a rule into question and say, did he violate this rule, but like around it? And it's like, you've never seen it and it's not defined. So, and that's the thing in the NFL too, and you'll admit this too, in the broadcast, they have a rules official. So, and in Major League Baseball, they don't have that. They have just the broadcasters who are most likely former players, former GMs, and former managers of the game doing that.
Or people with just great voices.
Yes, and it would be cool to have guys like now retired, the all-time leading umpire of all time in Joe West, who a lot of people don't like. Don't forget, the umpires were the enemy of the state, apparently. That's just how it is, because in baseball, you got to have us in order to make it somewhat fair.
That's true. Yeah.
So I think it would be cool to have these former umpires or guys who actually went, who are like now maybe Division I college umpires who had the minor league academy training that did minor league baseball to actually come on these sets, or former major league umpires that are still alive, because most of these guys go to like the 70 something, and have them just be there as a side piece and be like, okay, what is being in question here? And usually the replay reviews are the ones that are, those are kind of no-brainers and stuff. But when it's like little things, like the littlest of things that they can't do replay with, that they're trying to implement. Like, for instance, like last year with the whole instance with the Braves and the Marlins with Ronald Acuna, and the pitcher gets tossed because of prior history, but this guy in Acuna didn't have any beef beforehand.
Yeah.
So that's something that you could bring another umpire in on as like officials, umpire commentators, just interjection type wise on situations like that, to be, okay, what are the four umpires on the field thinking?
Yeah, exactly.
That would be something cool to see too on Major League broadcast, because that then helps the fan viewers who don't know the rules to know what's actually going on.
Exactly. And I think that's a great thing that's a great way of looking at something that it's maybe not going to be discussed at the CBA, but if somebody hears about it, they could assess it somehow.
So if MLB Network, anybody out there listening that is broadcasting baseball,
please,
you just heard it from fans, like guys who love the game that are fans. Do something like that. The NFL has it. I even think the NBA has it, but not on
the NBA has it
as the NFL does. So
NBA has it.
Just say it, MLB. Time to implement like having those kind of scenarios brought up, because I mean, I think the craziest thing is too. Now, talking with you, like Don Mattingly also got caught for arguing the case.
Yeah,
and it's like that's something you got to know, but also. I'll agree. I'll tell you why Don Mattingly got ejected. There's certain things that coaches, players cannot say to umpires by rule. They get tossed. They have to be tossed. It's what they call in baseball. They have it just like in football, unsportsmanlike conduct. Yeah. And that is unsportsmanlike conduct when you say something at the person. So just the way it goes. But
all right. I think the last thing that we didn't really talk about this before, but I think that
hot take. Here we go. Hot take.
It's not a hot take, but how do you feel about robot umpires or what is it? Automated strike zone, something like that?
Automated strike zone. I'm not a fan of it as an umpire standpoint.
Man,
yeah, there can be some cases.
You have to understand that sometimes you guys are blind.
Yeah, that's true. We can be, but at the time. Here's the thing, though, Victor, and this is what we would say as an umpire. Okay, Can you see that from section 7C up in the stands? Can you see that sack is ain't pitched?
No,
probably not.
There's no way.
And also on TV, those K zones that they throw up are not the actual real strike zones. What's actually happening on the field? So
I think
that's it.
I think that sure. Why not? Why not try it out? I'm all for trying things out to make the game I love better. I think that if it's implemented, right, and you have automated strike zones, I think that at the same time you would have to widen the strike zone a little bit more. Meaning, I know that the plate is 17 inches, right? 17 inches wide.
Correct.
17 inches wide. I think that you have to make it 19 inches wide. So that way you get an inch, an additional inch towards either side of the plate, right? Towards the left-handed side or towards the right-handed side. And then that way it's a more accurate because players crowd the plate a lot.
Yes, a lot.
Yes,
Even
I'm looking at you,
baseball,
Anthony Rizzo. I'm looking at you, Anthony Rizzo. A lot of players crowd the plate, and Justin Turner does it too. And the ball inside for those hitters isn't regularly called a strike. So if the umpires aren't calling it a strike, then the hitters are still going to be able to do that, and it gives an unfair advantage to the pitcher. So looking at it from that perspective, if there's an automated strike zone, then that pitch starts getting called strikes. And I think that maybe it should be implemented just to see if it works. So how would you do it? Well,
they are doing it right now
in the minor leagues.
Right now in the minors, they're doing it right now. I saw it, for instance, this year in the minor league at the low A Southeast second half season. It was like the end of the season game. The umpire had the earpiece behind the plate. But I can tell you this though, that this is something that they do have to bring. They do have to bring the human element to that, because sometimes it's a strike in the system. A ball down the middle gets called not a ball by the system. That's a strike all day. So the umpire sometimes does have to interject that in the game because it's like it didn't call that a strike, and that's a blatant strike. Because if you call it like the system, you better believe the manager of the defensive team in the dugout is going to be chirping at that point.
Absolutely.
That's a pitch that he wants.
Yeah, just like anything, technology malfunctions every now and then. Right? And maybe it didn't register the pitch, and it really because it didn't register the pitch. What is it going to be? Is it a ball? Is it a strike? No, it's a redo. No, it's not a redo. That's when you bring in the human element. But I think it's more complicated than what a lot of people think. So I think that's why it's important for us to talk about that. Like the human element is important in baseball. And then if we go all machines and everything, then it's not fun. It's not fun. I like seeing managers fight against especially now. Buck Showalter, you better get tossed at least once, because I love to see you fight against umpires.
Yes, I mean, dude. Don't forget, his first job was with your Yankees. So
I know
his first managerial job. And he just, I mean, I'm going to be honest, like the coaches that are now arguing stuff, it's either most of the things now, and you can admit this too, the times managers are arguing is if it's a close play and the replay doesn't go their way that they challenge.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you an instance what really brought replay in more than just fair the foul line that they had originally when they first brought it out was the play with Todd Helton, where his foot is blatantly 3.5 to 4 feet off the bag, and the umpire called him out to end the inning.
Jim Joyce blowing the perfect game for Armando Galarraga. Man, that was terrible.
Don't even get me started on that. And Jim Joyce, I admit, because now here's the thing, also with that technology, Victor, along in the minor leagues and the major league, the umpires get to see what they did behind the plate with like the actual zones and whatnot. There's a camera that's in the MLB stadiums that are specifically for the umpires to see their charts and see what they did during the game, like just where the pitch was and how they called it. And then I also think it also helps because baseball, with the base running pass, those are judgment calls. Okay, those are not rule calls. Rule calls you can argue. Judgment calls by rules managers or players cannot argue.
Yeah.
So the Jim Joyce, that's that's the one that actually started, really, honestly, started the whole replay conversation.
Absolutely.
Because it didn't just blow any certain type of game. It was the last
perfect
game.
Yeah.
Like that. And Jim Joyce, and he blatantly admitted, and went back, saw the replay, and blatantly admitted and was in tears that he missed that call.
Yeah, but you can't do anything about it now.
Yeah, you can't.
So that's why I really like replay. I think it's great.
It's helped the game.
Yeah, it's helped the game a lot. So yeah, I think those are the more important things that should be addressed in the CBA and player meetings. And let's just hope it ends soon, because I miss baseball. February is a month away, and if there are, I believe, players and catchers reporting in about 40 days.
Yes, so literally, I think now, because the NFL extended a week, everything's a week late now. So I think it's the same week as the Super Bowl pitchers and catchers report now. Instead of a week or two later, it's now the week. The Sunday that starts the Super Bowl, then it's baseball.
But if the lockdown continues, then that thing is going to get postponed and then
postponements, and it's oh, because I think the first spring training games are the 28th, I think, of February. First games are the 28th.
Something like that. So please, let's try to be human about this whole situation. Think of the fans. We understand that you guys deserve money, because you guys are in a multi-billionaire franchise industry, but please just think.
We could also talk about, are they going to institute caps and stuff like they do in the NBA and the NFL? But I mean, that's a whole nother story within itself, because of the fact that, okay, what would you put the cap limit at? What's the amount, the most a player could get in a contract? And it's like, baseball's been the one that gives you the most money, guaranteed money, that is, because in the NFL, like Patrick Mahomes. Look at Patrick Mahomes in NFL.
$500 million.
$500 million, $45 million to play football for 18 games a season, which is
17 weeks actually.
To January, basically the first week of January.
Isn't it 17 games now?
Yeah, 17 games. 17. It's 18 weeks with 17 games, because they still have the bye week.
Exactly.
So I mean, $45 million a year.
That's a lot.
The player closest to that is Mike Trout, or actually now I think it's Max Scherzer, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Well, annual average salary, yes.
Yeah, annual average salary. So it's crazy how much not just these other league players make, but also what the MLB guys make. So with that being said, guys, we're going to be putting this out on channels we thought of: TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, and definitely this episode is definitely going to be on Instagram TV, because this is for you guys. This is for anybody who loves the game of baseball. It'll be a hashtag baseball, hashtag MLB, hashtag lockout, hashtag whatever. Just hopefully you guys watch this and understand this is not coming from commentator standpoint. This is coming from the fans of the game.
From the fans, and one who played baseball for 18 years and another one who's still an umpire. I don't know how good he is.
Umpiring and play too. So yeah, that's funny. So with that being said, Nathan Davis, Victor Monroe, let's chat her up. Till next time, people.
Yeah. So if you guys like this, please let us know.